Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Today, we are excited to have on Corey Peterson. As the CEO and founder of Kahuna Investments, Corey Peterson has acquired over $250 million in real estate nationwide and raised over $100 million in private equity. He is the best-selling author of Copy Your Way to Success, Standing on the Shoulders of Giants, and hosts the Multifamily Legacy podcasts. His company's mission is to partner with passive investors to create award-winning apartment communities that families are proud to call home. Corey, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I've been wanting to get you on for a while. I love what you guys are doing at Kahuna Investments. Your assets are nice. You guys do a good job. Just before this call, we were talking about operational integration. I love that you guys are diving into that. And also, I didn't know that you were also a financial advisor in your past life. But maybe before we get into those two big topics, I'd love to hear a little bit more of your backstory, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So, I'm a rags to riches success story. I'm a self-made multimillionaire. I started off as a used car salesman. I was like, I wrote that book, Copy Your Way to Success, because that in high school, that was my best gift. I was never really good at doing the work, but I was a master copier, and I only copied from smart people. I found that in my business life, I actually call it modeling success, right? Not copying. Copy is a strong word.
Yeah.
But we model success a lot, and I found that I was really good at doing that. And so I didn't get to download from the mothership till I was 32 years old, and I went to Hawaii. It was with my girlfriend, now my wife of 21 years. But I met my first mentor. His name was Bruce, and I like to call him Bruce Wayne. He wasn't Batman, but he did have a lot of money. And he had a house right on the beach in Kauai, the Garden Island. And I'd never seen money or wealth like that before. And because Bruce had time and money. You know, a lot of people have one, not very many of us have both, right? And so it was different. I saw it was different. And so I asked him, like, what do you do? And then he said the magic words. He said that he was in real estate and that he owned apartments. And so now I left the island thinking he was the big kahuna. Like he had it going on. And so about 4 months later, I read the little purple book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yeah.
And I was sold it because Bruce was self-made as well. And I was like, if Bruce can do it, I can do it. So I went and started really buying every book I could. And so in 2005, I created my company. I called it Kahuna Investments, because I wanted to be the big kahuna just like Bruce. And I started off in single family, right? Doing wholesales and fix and flips. And then I started learning how to raise private money. And I really did that from my financial background. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I realized you can't scale that. It's hard to scale single family homes. And so in 2011, I transitioned into multifamily apartments. And that's all we've been doing ever since. So now we own, like you said, $250 million of commercial apartments. These are bigger, 100-unit plus buildings. Our last purchase was $40 million, and we raised $15 million in private equity. So it's been an amazing journey from a small-time farm boy in Missouri in the Ozarks, just like the Netflix movie, to now running a full-blown corporation company, and I love it. I love what I do.
I didn't know you were also a farm boy. We have something alike. Not only real estate, but I guess a farm background as well.
I've baled a lot of hay and I've picked a lot of rock.
Oh, yeah, me too. Grew up on a hill just full of rocks. It was basically one big rock.
Yeah. No, that well. People are like, how do you pick rock? Well, I was like, well, it's not complicated.
You got these hands and a wheelbarrow.
Yeah, that's it. So,
that's great.
For me, once I realized that real estate was my passion, and it really is my love, I truly love it. But I go back to when the thing that propelled me was raising private money. And I would love to be able to talk a little bit about my financial advisor background, because I think there's a lot of things your audience may understand and feel, because I know the things that I felt, right?
Yeah, let's get into it if you want.
So when I was a financial advisor, so here's the thing. So I started in 2005, but I actually stopped. I flipped some homes, and then I bought some rental properties. I bought 3 rental properties, and I had like $200 profit per per rental for $300, right? Or $600 total, 2, 4, 6, 3 properties. And then I was broke. I had no more money. I was like, well, I can't live off of this. So luckily, I found that you could get a job as a financial advisor. You didn't have to have a degree. I'm like, oh, perfect. You need to have sales experience or business experience. I was like, well, I own Kahuna Investments, right? So there was my business experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
My little startup company of buying some properties. But I got in there, and what Edward Jones taught me was all about money, like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, the whole gamut. And I started to get smart. I realized what most investors are doing with their money. And there's a mountain, I mean, trillions and trillions of dollars are invested in the stock market. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, because listen, there's a lot of, you should be investing in something. And so version 1 is better than version none.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what I've learned from that. This is my lessons from it as a financial advisor. Now, this is, can I talk about how the inside of the underbelly a little bit?
Let's do it.
This is the
What
not
we're
so
here for.
glamorous part. Okay, this is not what they're never going to tell you this. Okay, I'm going to tell you some secrets of how financial advisors, FAs, that's what they call us, FAs.
Now, before so as FAs, do CFPs also? Is it similar, or is
Well,
there a
they're going to have the same
delineation there?
Series 7, 66 license, but they're going to have, they went to some more schooling to get a CFP, right?
Okay.
But the underlying license is a Series 7, normally a Series 7 to 66.
Okay.
Right? And so that's what I had. I could do stocks, bonds, mutual funds, all of it, like life insurance, a full range of puts and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but in that game, what I realized, when you get into with a bunch of financial advisors, it's all about the word is assets under management. That's the key, right? That's like when they get together, they don't talk about you as you think they do. They only talk about you as a dollar and a number. Okay. And I hate to bust that bubble. And I'm not saying everybody's like this, but I just know if I was to pull a big group together, I'm like, this is how they act, right? They really don't care about your money. They just want to get your money. When advisors get together, they just talk about how much money they made off of each client. So it is like the Wolf of Wall Street, where he's like, the only goal is to get their money and put it from their pocket into your pocket. And because, and put it in an investment, and then it does what it does. They don't care about the outcomes, right? And so I'm crapping on myself here, because I was a financial advisor, and I was in the same realm, and I was probably doing some of the same things of it. But then you start really, you're really trying to do a good job for the investors, right? They come to you. So I'll give you an example. I had this couple that came from Intel, and they're both husband and wife, both work at Intel for like 20 something years. They're retiring from the company, and they've got about $1.5 million each in
Mm-hmm.
retirement funds and 401ks. So 3 million comes in, and they're like, this is our retirement. This is what we have. And they're like, you have done well. And so we invested it in a very conservative portfolio, right? And this was 2007, right? 2007 is when they did this.
Yep.
2008, everything's fine. 2009,
Boom.
right? 2009, they come into my office, and the woman comes in, and she is just disheveled. She looks like a ghost, and her husband's just like, she's sobbing, and he is just clammy and like just white. And I'm just telling you, it was the worst scene that I could ever imagine in my mind, of like, they just look destitute, because they've done the right thing all their life, right? And I'm their financial advisor. Now, my advice to them was, don't do anything except cut all your living expenses, right? Get as mean and tight for, the next 3 or 4 years. We'll come out of it, and you'll be in a good spot, right? But that's not what they did. They said, sell it all, right? Move it into money market. Take my investments out. And by that time, that 3 million was 1.5, right?
50% decrease. Yeah.
Yeah, it was horrible, right? So then I move it, and then guess what? I move their money. Guess what I have to do? Charge them a fee, because I'm moving money, right? And that's the moment for me where my heart left the business, right? But what I realized at that point is I had no control. I was these were my best clients, right? Like this is good amount of money for both of them. I was really trying to pay attention to their stuff. Yet I had my only advice was to them was like, it's the market.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and they have to accept that. And there's
Hard
nothing
thing to accept.
that's when I realized I had no control, because like you give some money, that much money to somebody, right? And then like they, Growth Fund of America, this, mutual fund. But how many people does that money go to till it finally gets to the person that says, all right, now buy, 100 shares of this and 50 shares of that, like that actually is making the moves.
Right.
Who is that person? Nobody knows, by the way.
Nobody knows.
Right. And so I realized like there's no control. So my heart left the business, my sales left right after, and I ended up getting fired from Little Jones. This is how I become a full-time real estate guy. Right. But now that I've been doing it a while, what I back it up to say, listen, what the great thing about real estate, and especially the commercial piece of it, is we have levers. Right. So think about it. We just went through COVID. COVID could have been crazy. Now it was for me, and I own a lot of student housing properties, college that rent to college kids, right? Well, what happened during COVID? No one went to school, and if they did, they were doing it online,
right?
So they didn't stay in my place. My place went from 100% occupancy to 45. Now, 45% occupancy for a full year is a death kiss. Okay, unless you have levers. And so I started hitting levers. So my first lever was half the staff or a third of the staff gone, right? Had to, right? Skeletonized my whole operation. We had to get so lean and so efficient just to break through. And we did it, right? Now,
you're still here.
We're still here. I still own those assets, right? I actually, because Corey's brain works this way, I'm like, I can't be the only one hurting. I bet you there's a lot more pain out there. Let me go buy some of that pain, right? So I actually doubled down. I bought like 5 more different student housing properties during that time, and that's actually they're coming out to be a beautiful, beautiful thing, right? Because I bought when people needed to or had to sell or wanted to just were throwing their hands up too. So I bought opportunity, but my main point is like you can cut costs, you can be more efficient. There's things you can do with the stock market. I just had to throw up my hands and say it's the market. There's nothing I can do. I'm at the mercy of it. And when you're looking at an alternative to the stock market, when you're looking to have alternative investments out there, I think finding a good syndicator or even real estate, if you're going to do it yourself, is a good option because it does allow you some levers, Casey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do have lots of levers to manage the real estate. I mean, right now, interest rates are very high, but you can counteract interest rates with purchase price, creative financing options, managing your pro forma rents, like managing the business asset itself. And one thing that you touched on before we hit record was the operational integration that you're now implementing in Kahuna Investments. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that means and why you're doing that?
Yeah. So thanks. Great question and great setting me up for this because now I said I would never become a property management company, right? I was like, I don't ever want to do it. I'm just going to be an owner operator. I'm going to hire a third party property management company to do the work for me. And that's what I've done since 2011. Here now it is 2023. 12 years later, I finally got fed up with it, right? And here's why, right? Because it's all more and more I find in today's economy, in today's hiring environment, people will make or break your company. It's really, we are in the people business.
I think it always has been like that, and I feel like a lot of companies actually forget that.
They lose sight.
They lose sight of it.
Yep. And so if that's our biggest asset is our people, right? And then your systems and process right thereafter, right? What you inspect, you can expect, right? And what I found was a property management third-party agreement, fee-based agreement, based on how much they collect, not how much they spend, is very not in line with my operating goals. We are not aligned in the same thoughts and values of what we're trying to achieve. And so we made the decision this year, 2023, we vertically integrated. I mean, we took all the property management, the accounting, all that stuff in-house. Now, we did that because we wanted to have control of the process, but I will tell you now, it's more about control of the people and our culture, right? So, and the best way I can describe this is to quantify like what it meant for us. We have this one property that we bought last year. We bought it in like June, right? Now, for student housing, August is what's called turn. So when everybody moves in and moves out, they all do it at one point in time, right? All the college kids move out, and then we have about 3 weeks to do all the work, and then they move back in, and then they stay in for the whole year. So at one property, we spent last year $375,000 during this turn process, right? It's about
It's a good
2 month.
chunk.
It's a lot of money. This year, because we did it on Kahuna's way, right? We spent like $135,000, right? It's like a $200,000 difference, right? And for simply because we said we weren't going to spend stupid money, we were going to spend it like it was ours. So in that, there's a system and a process. So we have what's called CAs, community ambassadors. These are the college kids that work part-time for us. Normally, last year, the year before, the property management company decided to hire a cleaning service. And a cleaning service came in and cleaned all the vacant units, right? Well, we said, because kids don't stay the whole school year, like especially the ones that are like done. Once school's out, they're gone, and there's a 4-month period of time before they come back. So we can get into these units and start cleaning. And so that's what we did. Is we had these little CAs, or the college kids that need some work, and we gave them some gloves and some chemical and
Some
scrub
scrubbies.
brush.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's go to work. And they did. And they did it for fractions of the cost, right? And it's just like little things like that. But that happened because we're like, dude, if it was our money, what would we do? We have staff. Can we hire staff? Can we, why hire a company when you can just create the process in-house? And so a lot of things we do is we say, we only sub out if we have to. Can we do it ourselves? Do we have the necessary people? Can they do the job? Can they do it well? And all it's led to is efficiencies that create, bottom line NOI growth, net operating income, and that's the metric we hit.
Corey, I love that you brought this up because I have never heard of bringing college ambassadors in-house. You're providing student housing. So essentially there is a, lack of a better term, a medium between your company and the students. If those college ambassadors are also cleaning the units, they can rightfully so say that unit is good. I cleaned it myself. It's a great person. I also work for the company that manages the property. They're great people. Mr. Peterson's great. We like what he does. Would you like a place to stay?
That's it. That is their, when they're not cleaning, right? So when they're not doing that, that's turn season. When they're not turn season, they're out on campus with flyers saying, "Have you heard about Eagles Village or Slippery Rock University? Are off the campus living. Do you want to live in the dorm? Do you still want to live in the dorm? Dorm life sucks. Come to our place. We've got amenities. We got a pool table, a hot tub, a pool. We have ping pong. It's a whole different vibe, right?
Yeah.
And so it is a beautiful thing to watch it be done. And honestly, I love student housing because it keeps me young, right? I mean, you work with this different segment of young adults, and what do the parents want? The parents want clean, safe, disciplined. Like, let my kid get through the college experience without getting screwed up.
Uh-huh.
And so that's what we try to provide, right?
When you
Within the
probably also
context,
party with them, right, Corey?
yeah, Corey never does that. No, no way. And if any of my staff do, they're gone too, right? So we tend to like we have a really tough policy when it comes to fraternizing with the people that live, especially with our maintenance guys. And like, there's just we got to have badges. We got to have like there's just
Yeah,
certain
it needs to be
protocol you have to go
professional
through
experience.
for sure, right? That's the last thing you want is any type of bad slander because a maintenance guy went in unannounced or something like that, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
perceived unannounced.
Yeah, exactly. But it all comes back to that vertical integration. You're allowing vertical integration allows you to become operationally efficient and better able to control that asset. And what that really means for the investors that you're bringing into those deals, like you said, you have more levers to pull to ensure that their investments are sound. They're not losing capital. They're gaining the metrics that you guys are putting out there, and very unlike the situation where you were a financial advisor. You said, well, it's the market, we don't have too much control over what's actually happening, but with these you do.
It is a game changer, and I swear I would never do it, right? But looking back, it's going to be probably the most biggest thing I've done in the last 3 to 5 years is making this change. Is to looking at my team and we're like, do we want to do this? Because it's we like property management is not a profit center. Like I barely make any money. I just take all the money that I was given away, and I'm like, how can I buy more staff and more people? Right? I pay myself a small salary, but like I'm not making. I make the money in the real estate, right? But I control the machine and I control it way better. And that's what we've learned is we control it way better with our ideas, our culture, our our focus on the NOI. Everything we do is NOI focused. So when we're talking to property managers, we're making them get familiar with the profit and loss statement to understand their numbers and why they have a budget. What does that budget mean? And how that we are responsible to investors. And so it's really getting everybody in because your property manager becomes they want robots, right?
Yep.
That don't think and they have no idea what's going on. And so we open up the bigger realm and say there's a way bigger picture and you matter. And that's the biggest piece of the deal is letting you'd be surprised. Some people work for pay, some people work for recognition, right? And a lot of women, we have a lot of women on our staff. I'm telling you, you recognize them and make them in front of their peers and make them feel special. And when they do things and you reward them in that light, these girls are monsters, dude. I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm.
they move mountains, and they will move it for my company. They bleed Kahuna red, and it is a very powerful thing, and it's very attractive too. It's very potent, right? That attracts the right people. So I don't have to now police my properties. They police themselves. They're like, you're either Kahuna or you're not, right? And so that's the words that they say. And so in that, the whole story behind that is culture, right? What is your company culture? And we focused. That's my job as the CEO and founder. Is there's three things that I'm responsible for: people, culture, and numbers. Right? I got to know my numbers. I got to. My culture, being the culture king, leads me to find and being responsible for my people. So I'm usually involved in the hiring process, uh, not at all the staff level, at the property level, but definitely for anything above that. That is all my realm. I interview everybody. I'm in part of that process. We're working on even getting to the process of I may be starting to do the property managers as well, being in some shape or form in the introduction phase because we want them to see that there's a bigger picture, right? The bigger idea. And for us, what it's led to is a great partnership to where we provide good details to the investors. We're running the machine more efficiently, and being able to reward everybody involved, which is paying the investors when they're supposed to.
Yep. Creating those win-win solutions that you really, it's really hard to create those scenarios in anywhere else that I've found.
Yeah, And it's not perfect too, though, Casey. It's not a perfect world too. Like, here's the thing: people think that real estate's super sexy and super. It's
Yeah,
always good.
everything's
No,
good. It's always hunky dory.
yeah, yeah. Most
Everyone's
people,
rich,
most people
right?
will lie to you, right? And I'll tell you the truth: is it's a grind sometimes. There's seasons to this thing. There's ups and flows and downs, and so what you want is a good someone that doesn't get rattled by all of that, right? Like that's my job. Is I'm a chief problem solver. We have these things, and sometimes the ocean's smooth and calm, and sometimes it's violent. And
Yep.
so again, but I'm the captain of the ship, and I've got to make sure that we're on course. And sometimes these storms pull us off, and then we got to like, okay, hold on, we're going to take some work to get us back on track. And that's what I do, right? And that's what I love doing it with the team. I never thought that I used to be more of a recluse, right? Go into my office, my home office, and sit there. But what I found is I really love people. I love watching them grow. I love being their biggest cheerleader. And I think that's my job, right? Is to be a cheerleader for my team because they're doing most of the work now. And I'm just giving them the vision and the company insight and the atta girls and atta boys to make them help them succeed in their goals.
Yeah, providing that pathway for them, really empowering them to make those decisions, lead their teams. It's really cool, and I wholeheartedly agree. I think people make any machine work, and I love that you have such a big focus on it because when companies get big, it seems like they forget that people are behind the tasks. Like people aren't just task monkeys. Like they have a personality, they have a life, they have goals as well. And it seems like all too often when you're just focusing on returns or just focusing on one very specific thing, that people get lost.
Absolutely. And it's a damn shame, right? Because people want you to do good and they will do more than you ever thought they could if you'll just give them the right tools and the right belief behind them, right? And here's the other thing people make mistakes. My people make mistakes all the time. Guess what? Casey, I make mistakes.
Yeah.
So
Oh
if I
yeah, we
make
all do.
mistakes, they're going to make mistakes too, and I'm okay with it as long as they do it with the right heart and the right intentions, right? And then I reward that because they're trying something. They're getting uncomfortable. They were trying probably something new, and that's okay. And so that's part of your culture, and you have culture in your company, whether you know it or not, right? And whether you control it or not. And so I say take control of your culture, take control of your business, which is what we've done. And we love the real estate aspect because it's a good way for investors to partner along with us and have the benefits of real estate without having to do the tenants and toilets of real estate.
Yeah, the stress of management.
Yep.
Yep, for sure. Corey, this has been great. I mean, we covered some hot topics, especially around financial advising, vertically integration, which is it's a smart strategy. You know, people have there's pros and cons to everything, but I really appreciate your perspective on this today, Corey. Is there anything else you'd like to leave us with?
If I can, I would love to give everybody a copy of my book. So
Yeah,
if they will text the word book BOOK to 480-500-1127. So text the word book to 480-500-1127. My team will send you a book, Copy Your Way to Success, Standing on the Shoulder of Giants, for free. And it's just our gift for listening. And really, it's a great book. It's really about my hero's journey. It's about being that farm boy and dreaming big and then all the mistakes along the way. So it's a very inspiring story that I think a lot of people will relate to.
that's great. And we will also put that in the show notes for everyone interested, as usual. Corey, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Rock and roll. Thanks a lot.
Hell yeah. Everyone listening, hope you enjoyed today's episode. You know what to do. Rate, subscribe, and we will be at you next week. See you, everyone. Bye.